Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for the film Final Destination 3 from 2006. This movie is rated R with a runtime of an hour and 33 minutes. So why am I doing a review for this film from so long ago? Well, a few different reasons. There's a podcast that I listen to called They Made Another One, hosted by my buddy Corey and his friends Mitch and Liam. They recently revisited this movie as part of their podcast. You can find the link to their show in the description of the video. But I wanted to revisit the movie mainly because of the cast, and I remember enjoying the Final Destination franchise. So since I did go back and rewatch the movie, I figured why not make my own review as well? I've been doing a lot of retro reviews with some of the stuff that we're rewatching and some of these old movies. So I thought it'd be interesting to revisit this. And I think I will keep revisiting the franchise. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to look at if you want me to watch or rewatch some of the other Final Destination movies. I believe we have 5 to pick from other than this one. 3 is a weird starting spot, but here we are. So let's talk a little bit about this movie. Rotten Tomatoes has a score currently, as of the recording of this, of 43% for the critics, 57% for the audience, which feels low to me. I think this movie um, deserves a little bit more than that. This movie is directed by James Wong, written by Glenn Morgan and James Wong. Quick synopsis for this film, if you're not familiar with the Final Destination movies. And I will say, if you haven't seen any of them, I would recommend you go in, like pause this review, and go in and watch them without knowing what's going on. I think it's more fun that way. So when Wendy has a vision of an accident on a roller coaster, the result in that results in her and her friends' deaths, she instantly begins to panic and gets off the ride, causing some of her friends to get off as well. The remaining friends, including Wendy's boyfriend, are stuck in a roller coaster and involved in an accident with death waiting around the corner. Wendy and Kevin Fisher must try to work out Death's plan before they and the remaining survivors end up death. This movie stars Elizabeth Winstead as Wendy and Ryan Merriman as Kevin Fisher. So yeah, here we are. I mean, this is it. This is what the Final Destination films are all about. I think one of the things that makes this franchise so much fun is the intricate ways that death is set up, and then just seeing the struggle of our protagonist and the group as they try to avoid dying. Some of the characters believe that they can achieve this. Some of them are definitely they don't believe that this is what's happening. So it's a place for a very interesting dynamic. So yeah, I think this movie is just a really fun blend of horror, mystery. There's some comedic moments too that ease the tension of the film. And I think, anybody that grew up in the early aughts, like as a teenager, I think you really enjoyed stuff like this when you could see like some other, high schoolers or a group of high school kids as they are kind of trying to move on with their lives. I think the opening sequence is fantastic. Like I just love the setup of everything that happens in the theme park and the amusement park, all the way leading up to the vision, and then we get to see everyone die, right? Because in the original vision, everyone dies in some really intricate ways. I think the roller coaster is already a natural fear for a lot of people, so including this as part of the premise of the big death at the beginning, and then just seeing the people that were able to escape, how this stuff plays out for them, and making sure that they can't cheat death. I think the film is a great example of how to stay true to the premise of a franchise while still managing to provide something new and a little bit innovative. I think, as I talked about, the opening roller coaster sequence is great. There's also a lot of really fun deaths, which sounds weird, but there's a little bit of a thematic thing of, like, each one of these characters is flawed in some way. So, of course, their deaths kind of reflect stuff like that. Um, and the characters overall, they're very endearing. They're very, likable. Each one has their own. I don't think any of them are like super malicious characters. Although, there's a bit of a twist when it comes to some attitudes towards the end of the film. But another aspect of the movie that really stands out to me is how humorous it was. I didn't remember how much fun and how like there's just something that it's not even like crass humor. Is not humor that hasn't aged too well too badly either. I think it's just kind of fun. Like it can be dark humor for sure, but I think it provides a nice contrast to some of the horror that we're seeing. For example, one of the characters meets their demise in a hardware store, and I think there's just some stuff that you can't really help but to kind of laugh at the way that all those things are kind of set up. And it's some of these deaths come out of nowhere and they're very impressive. And I think it's always fun to kind of see the sequence of events kind of come together. I think if you did this poorly, the franchise would not be as successful. I gotta say the pacing of the movie is also very very well done. The movie builds up tension gradually and then releases a little bit as each of the character dies, but then twists start happening, and the film finally pivots into the final arc. It's a very quick runtime, so I think there's not a lot of time wasted in this film. I think the film is very efficient when it comes to that. I also really enjoyed the use of the technology at the time. There's a digital camera that kind of provides clues, which is something that's also new to this franchise. I mean, new to the franchise at this point. And this is kind of how they try to avoid death, trying to figure out as they try to solve the puzzle of their own death. Uh, with the pictures that were taken from this trip. I think it's a really fun way to do that, and it's just really fun to kind of go back and see technology at a time of like how much things have changed. Like now everybody has cameras on their phone that are way better than any digital camera that was back there in the days. And then also the fact that characters can't just communicate very freely as much as they are now, or like, some of these events would probably be trending on social media and stuff like that, or even the research of like has this happened before, which is something that they touch on the film. Like it would be very different. I'm surprised there hasn't been a reboot of this franchise. I think this is something that would actually be very welcome, because these movies, as much as the premise stays kind of the same, they always find a way to make it interesting. And I think with the evolution of technology in the world and society, they could approach things in a very different manner. So hopefully we get another Final Destination at some point. In the meanwhile, I'll focus on maybe rewatching some of the older films, and maybe talking more about that on the channel. So yeah, this movie is a fun ride from beginning to end. Just enough humor to lighten the mood and without taking away from the horror. So if you are a fan of the horror movies or the Final Destination franchise, make sure to check this one out. I think from what I remember, this is my favorite of the five, but it's been a long time since I really revisited them. This one definitely is the one that stands out the most in my memory, although I didn't even remember that Mary Elizabeth Winstead was in this film, and she is fantastic. I think all the performances are really fun, but she overall really carries the film, um, because we really feel for this character as they try to control their life, and everything kind of starts spinning out of control. So it's a really interesting, and then also the end of this film. Oh my goodness! Just when you think everything's gonna be all right, they add a one more thing that really comes out of nowhere, and it's really fun. There's also a song that is played all throughout that I really enjoyed listening back to it, and of course just some of the other music from the time as well that is kind of sprinkled throughout the film. So this was a really fun rewatch. I'm glad that they made another one, chose to do this, so I could rewatch it and make a video for the channel as well. But yeah, go check out their discussion. It's really fun. You can find that in the description of the video. And as always, let me know what you thought about this film down in the comments if you've seen it. Let me know how you like the Final Destination franchise, or if there's any other franchises like this from the early 2000s that I should revisit. So thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, movie reviews, old and new. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.